welcome. First, I'd like to thank you for joining me on this magical mystery tour. I have 10 subscribers now. You can't imagine what that means to me. Okay, that's 10 people who have enjoyed my content enough to follow. Now, having followed my content, you'll probably be a bit surprised, right? If you've joined me from my racism video on Israel and propaganda in Sky News, then you might be confused about my spiritual angles. Perhaps you'll be confused if you've joined in accordance with Christian values to be challenged with weird, esoteric Indian philosophy, Chinese philosophy, all kinds of crazy philosophies. If you've come from the Indian philosophies, you might be confused with the Christian aspect. Well, I'm here to kind of accommodate all things into one kind of holistic whole thing, one thing, right? In all things you can see all other things. I've always felt that, I've always got that, and whenever a philosophy has says my way is the only way, it hasn't sat right with me, and that's what's brought me on this journey. And I welcome you, and it's gonna be a confusing one. A lot of stuff that I say is gonna catch you by surprise, right? And I've lost one subscriber in this process already, right? And that's fine, because what I say is gonna be really challenging, right? It's gonna challenge you to your core. Trans deserve love. It challenges a lot of people to their core, because in this current media frenzy environment, this current world, where we're told things are getting worse and worse, and people therefore believe that things are getting worse and worse, all of this thing, every reason that things are getting worse, they're all inorganic, okay? They're all orchestrated. They are, the conditions of the world are created by people who are choosing things, right, for us. And the world's no harder, right? They said things are going to get harder in the autumn. It's autumn. Things ain't harder now. They just said the migrants are the problem, and we have an enemy ready for you to put all your hatred into, pour all your hatred into. Wow. Silly. It's so silly. Love is about, life is about love, right? Connection. The more we connect, the better life is. Life is not so good when we're disconnected from others, from the experience of life, right? And we all find ourselves in these states. It's really easy to get ourselves into these places, right? Not challenging your comfort zone, not going out of your comfort zone. You know, you get happy with your own thing, and then the new thing becomes scary. It becomes hard to grasp, right? We get cognitive inertia, and that causes cognitive decline. So don't get cognitive inertia, don't get cognitive decline. Keep on the channel, because we're always going to keep things lively, challenging, right? I'm always going to challenge hatred. I'm always going to challenge disunity, right? These are all selfish things in a world that encourages selfishness. And the more we can denigrate the self, or that is to say, the more we can engender connection, right, the better things are for us. And the more we feel that we know, we get a grander perspective, greater perspective, right? And with greater perspectives, we get greater love, greater feeling, greater experience. Everything just feels greater. So, my intention is to help the people. If there's anything that you specifically need help with, shout. If there's anything that you see about me that I could probably do with help with, shout. This is a learning channel, a growth channel, not just for yourself but for myself. So I've already grown as the result of my viewership. Fantastic viewer, I forget the first part of your name, but something Gloria. Peace. Thank you so much for the book recommendation. It's a Bentov. The Chasing the Wild Pendulum of the Mind of Consciousness, something like that. Finished the book now. Great read, and the man, Itzhak Bentov, very much in alignment with the things that I too have reached. It proves the point that when we all open our minds, we find a collective understanding, right? It's not to say that when we open our minds, we come up with some great stuff, but it's all sporadic, all different. No, we all grasp the same information. This is why it's more important to find a connection with your universe, right? A non-verbal interaction, non-verbal communication with the universe. For me, it's sort of a lot in fortunes and misfortunes, right? And those happen more when I'm happier and not so happy with myself. And when I'm happy with myself, acting pure, acting moral, giving to others, saving lives in any which way that I can, benefiting others in any which way that I can, benefiting the world, and not getting hung up on cycles of self-gratification and self-mortification, right, where we indulge ourselves and then feel really bad, and then a cycle over and over again. It could be cake, it could be drink, it could be any number of things, right? All things, right? That is human experience. Cyclical experience in the world revolves around us getting hung up on our desires and hating ourselves for it. So that's fun. And it's all fun, and life is just such a fun process. And in the next few weeks and months, we're going to explore our connection with the universe. We're going to cultivate a special connection with the universe. An intense connection, right? A connection whereby the creator and the observer dichotomy merge into one, and we realize that there is an interesting interplay between the self and the environment, where one is led to believe that we are just the same thing. As the Sikhs say, what we know is the self, what we don't know is the creator, and we are both two sides of the same coin. And why? Well, there's not a lot else to do, right? There's nothing else better to do. Incoming soon, there'll be my kind of origin story, which is funny because the spiritual discipline that I follow the most, Taoism, doesn't have an origin story. However, in the fullness of all things, I believe I've got this origin story, which I just really feel answers questions, certainly makes sense. Anyway, we'll go into that in a future one, but this is just a quick one just to say many thanks, peace and love to you all. I'm really enjoying this. I hope you're enjoying it half as much as I am, because I'm getting so much from this. If you've got any suggestions, so if there's anything like any books like that you think would be right up my street, or the people should know, and everything I've said kind of reminds you of it, but it's never hit me yet. Shout. There's always something to be learned. Another thing about the book that I was recommended is in the final chapter was about Kundalini energy, how as this special sacred core spiritual energy emerges to create ourselves a liberated state, it can often do so through crippling stress episodes, right? And I've had some really real serious chunky issues with stress, and something, that end chapter, you know, I just figured out a lot of stuff, and that's why I put out that recent video on stress, all because of that chapter. So having made this channel, I've reached out to people to reach out if they've got any suggestions. A subscriber did give a suggestion, and from that suggestion I found something that was so needed in my life, right, so special. And that's the power of manifestation, right? I needed that so desperately, and a part of me, the soul, knew that to get that I had to make this channel, and I had to reach out to you guys, right? What else is there to come? Because there's an infinite amount of juicy material to get through, and you can't get through it all. It's such a pain when there's too much information out there to absorb, right? Too much juice out there. And now that's a new problem, right? Whatever problem I had in the past, well, that's got depression, stress, all of this stuff, right? I've got too much stuff to read, so think about that, right? And that's how it goes. That's how it goes. So I'm warming up for the next video on compassion right here, right now. So I'm going to launch into that. Peace and love, dudes and dudettes and dude persons.